Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon, all of you. Welcome back. Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon, all of you. So, are you reading the newspapers? Are you reading the business newspapers? Very good afternoon, Ria. Very good afternoon, Sumit, Balaji, all of you. Very good afternoon. Sorry, I was unavailable for the most part of the last week. So I'm back. Okay, so have you started reading the business newspapers, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Keep trying, keep trying. So let us start today's session without all about war. But ठीक है, thankfully. Yeah, it was all about war, but thankfully now I hope now this is off record. I hope government does not succumb to the popular opinion. Enough for 3 days. Hmm? नहीं देखो, I mean, I'll tell you, sometimes as a teacher you have to make your point. See, completely different take. Like in today's scenario, war has the tendency to get prolonged, right? If you say that we are at war, if you start, you know, I mean, till you pull back, you can pull back, but beyond a point, you cannot afford to pull back. It starts creating its own chain reaction, right? It starts creating its own, you know, ripples.
Yes, sir. It has ripple effects.
Just look at 2, 3 wars going on. Ukraine versus Russia. I mean, even Russia is as powerful as, say, America, or more powerful than China. Still, Ukraine is dragging on, dragging on. At least Russia is entangled in the war. And Ukraine too already destroyed. So Ukraine has lost everything. It has nothing more to lose. But why should Russia be, engaged in war? But anyway, Russia is Russia. So war, say, only 3 countries can benefit from war, long prolonged war. Only 3 countries: Russia, America, and China. No other country can benefit from war. They are the war suppliers. Okay. So, and beyond a certain point, you cannot pull out also. I mean, if you have done enough damage, then that will, create a kind of urge to retaliate all the time. So ठीक है ना, मतलब it's something like you have an upper hand, whatever people say. 3 days में मारपीट किया अपना, ठीक है, okay, let us forget it. How, I mean, it's something like a Mercedes being hit by some लफंगा kind of was a अब मर्सिडीज पे किसी ने पत्थर फेंक दिया. Able to you?
Yes, sir, now you are.
नहीं तो कम्युनिकेशन मशीनरी तो एवरीवन एवरी इंडियन अनुभव यू दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम विथ वी इंडियंस ना. The amount of content that is getting created and being shared on social media, internet by Indians. I mean, it's something like I feel pity for people who who do not have this tendency not to forward. Like I generally don't forward any message. If you send me a message, it will remain with me. I never do that. Okay. So anyway, I am though to be very honest, the first anybody's first reaction would be that if you are winning a war, you should continue it, right? But the if you that is the emotional first instinctive emotional reaction. But then if you actually let your neocortex operate, if you actually look at it logically, and this is the time when you can actually pull out. After a few days, you would not be able to pull out. Okay. So I'm only scared that the government does not succumb to this political compulsion. That no, we will continue the war. We will, irrespective of what China says, irrespective of what America says, we will continue the war. बहुत मुश्किल से $4 trillion पहुंचे हैं. See, it is something like, I'll give you a very crude example. It is something like if you are going, one of my friends gave this example actually. That if you are driving a Mercedes on the roads of Delhi and some derailed Vikhari beggar, scratches your this, what will you do? What will you do? Will you fight with him? Will you fight with him? The beggar and Lakhera kind of. Maximum what you'll do, two, three slaps you can give if he's arguing. You give 2, 3 slaps. So long as public opinion does not, shift in his favor. कि एक अमीर आदमी जो है गरीब आदमी को मार रहा है. A rich man in Mercedes beating a poor man. So long as people can see your reason, it's fine. You cannot get into a prolonged litigation with that Bhikhari. Am I right? So move on when you can move on. But they are $379 billion economy. $379 billion. When you are fighting with Pakistan, you are not fighting with Pakistan. You are fighting with China, actually. They're $379 billion economy. Your defense budget is $75 billion. If you can raise $25 billion budget, it will become $100 billion. 1/3 of Pakistan's economy, 1/4 of Pakistan's economy will be your defense budget. If you can just raise it 30%. So this time you have done enough damage. This time you have done, I mean, everybody knows if you are logic, this time something has happened inside Pakistan. I mean, more than Balakot, more than Uri, something big has happened. Otherwise, they would not have, got rattled so much. Okay. So I think it is, and we have huge stakes here. Our stakes are huge. Just think about people in IIM Amritsar, people studying in IIM Amritsar, IIM Jammu, IIT Srinagar. I mean, you cannot stop your Mercedes and get into litigation with that beggar for a long term because the wars have this tendency to last long. Even, see, Ukraine is dragging Russia despite getting destroyed. What would China do? It will just keep supplying enough drones, enough bombs to keep you, at bay, to keep the international investors aware that it is not a safe place, to keep the IPL players away from India, to keep the new factory set up away from India. It's simple. So from 4 trillion to 3 trillion, it will just be a matter of time. After see how all the, I mean, the peak of your this yeah, very good afternoon. At the peak of your say vacation time. I'll just come. There is a puja at my place. I'll just come after two. Give me 1 minute time. Just one. Okay. No. So, I mean, that is what I feel like we have lot of stakes. अब आप भिखमंगे से झगड़ा नहीं कर सकते वो भिखमंगा के पीछे, I mean, the beggar के पीछे you have your own some another big, some big shot who is always after you. So that big shot is taking the advantage of your fighting with a beggar, launches a police case. SC ST केस करवा दिया. अब आप यू आर फंस गए. यू गो. आप कितना बढ़िया ऑफिस जा रहे थे. यू आर गोइंग टू योर फैक्ट्री टू सेट अप अ न्यू प्लांट एंड नाउ यू गो टू पुलिस स्टेशन. You go to the court and then you continue for next every week in high court and ultimately nothing happens. So 3 days bombing, ठीक है. First instance you feel like अरे क्या जरूरत था, we should have, but today it is not possible. You cannot, I mean, kill 20 crore Pakistanis. So we have tested, we'll keep on building it. I mean, like today we are in a position where Pakistan on its own cannot do anything to us. You remember in 1971, actually in those days, they were economically stronger than us. So let us, I mean, I hope the government does not succumb to the political compulsion of Bihar election and all those places. Let them take this bullet that yes, we have. अरे यूएस हैज नेवर बीन वन साइडेड फेस यार यूएस हैज ऑलवेज बीन डबल साइडेड क्या बात करते हो यू डोंट नो यूएस हु डजंट नो यूएस यूएस हैज ऑलवेज बीन यूएस हैज ऑलवेज बीन on its own side यूएस has never been anybody's friend never यूएस को क्या है यार यूएस US has always been like this. You have to, I mean, this is the smartness of these people that they are extracting some deals from US and this. ये क्या US is like that guy who, once कहते ना मतलब निकल जाने पे they would not even look at you kind of thing. So today you are important for US and even you are important for US investments. US would not want its investment to get crippled in India. I mean, just imagine. I mean, you have stopped flying. I mean, your Indigo has suspended flights. Indian Airlines has suspended flights. So what will happen? I mean, at the peak of vacation season, you are go to this any place. You will not be flying. I mean, this is the time when you would be Indigo would be like earning its maximum revenue. And in this you are grounded. Think about schools, think about colleges. उनका क्या है? Pakistan $379 billion economy. They have nothing here. $1 billion they are asking for IMF for their national interest payment. Nation के लिए $1 billion Mukesh Ambani would just donate like anything.
लाड़की बहन मैया सम्मान का बजट उससे ज्यादा है सर
इसलिए लेट अस नॉट मतलब आई एम वेरी 3 दिन मारा धोया इस बार बहुत बढ़िया से दैट्स फाइन सो चाइना वुड हैव वांटेड अस टू कंटिन्यू एंगेज मतलब वो तो डेफिनेटली दे वुड हैव वांटेड अस टू कंटिन्यू बिकॉज दे वुड यूज पाकिस्तान एज अ लॉन्च पैड टर्की वुड हैव वांटेड अस टू कंटिन्यू well anyway I am very glad that Trump ji has done something good. चलो ये सब बेकार की बात है पर let us come to our own. हमारा भी इन्वेस्टमेंट है यार स्टॉक मार्केट में मंडे अब if the ceasefire continues and if government says नहीं we are ready to honor ceasefire we are talking to Pakistan is also talking then I think 1000 point up move in Nifty on Monday right so you have मतलब if you are strong you have only America benefits with from war यार क्योंकि उसको कोई harm नहीं कर सकता nobody can harm and they are the suppliers of war machines. Russia will also because they have certain advantages. To some extent China has become a beneficiary of war. But apart from that anybody who gets into war is ruined. Quick decisive 3 days this time damage has been done. Because beyond a certain point pulling out is difficult then you will not then war creates its own mechanism then you don't control war the war controls you okay videos and all though you will be surprised that in the last 3 days the only channel that I watched was Doordarshan. And the only report that I watched was from the press conference of Vyomika Singh and Ms. Qureshi. Chalo, let us. No, I don't. I mean, because in today's world, don't know, I mean, who has what agenda. And okay, so let us start with our own knowledge, power of knowledge session. We'll talk about this in. No, they don't spread fake news. They, in their excitement to, be the first one or be the thing, they are in a haste. They are not able to check. So sometimes, unintentionally they spread the lie. They succumb to the mechanism. Anyway, so let us now talk about. Yeah, it is damaging, fake news, but you should be intelligent enough to figure out that what is fake and what is not fake. Yeah. At least you should be able to figure out what is fake and what is not. It's very obvious. You just apply your basic sense. Oh, if you just be little careful, you will be able to figure out what is fake. Most of the things that excite you unexpectedly is fake, positive or negative, both. Simple. And if you have your brains, you'll realize. I mean, you cannot just, even if let us say, I'll give you a simple example. Let us take the example of POK wala part. Even if there is no human being, no Pakistani soldier there, how much time will it take for Indian army or people to reach there? Can they reach the end of POK in one day? It is pahad here. It is 5,000. It is hill, mountains, Himalayas. You cannot just walk through the jungle and climb it. So don't. War is ठीक है. 3 दिन में we have done, and in India was determined not to attack civilians. They had nothing against Pakistani people. Yeah. फेक न्यूज तो अच्छा, फेक न्यूज इज व्हाट यार? फेक न्यूज से किसको बेनिफिट होता है? I mean, don't you see during our elections there is much more fake news than what you have experienced in this war?
सर जो जितना अच्छा प्रोपेगेंडा बनाएगा इस टाइम वो जीत जाएगा।
नहीं, अच्छा एक बात बताओ ना, कौन जीता है अभी तक, कौन हारा है अभी तक? हैज यूक्रेन लॉस्ट द वॉर?
नो
हैज हमास लॉस्ट द वॉर?
नो
क्या जरूरत था उसको वो इजराइल के साथ पंगा लेने का?
Sir, there is a case study which says that after 1945, US has
हाँ.
not won a single war.
तब वियतनाम में did US win the war? Did they win the war in Afghanistan? Did Afghanistan win the war? अरे ये आपको एंगेज रखेगा, आपके कॉलेजेस को बंद रखेगा. योर कॉलेजेस विल रिमेन क्लोज्ड, योर आईएम्स विल रिमेन क्लोज. आई एम जम्मू, आई एम उत्तराखंड में काशीपुर, आई एम all those IIMs will remain closed. All your airports will remain closed. A rich man does not take battle with a beggar. You have everything to lose. आप क्या करोगे? I mean, if the war continues, do you think if war happens, do you think India will, it is like 1971? Huh? Is it like 1971? The world is like 1971.
No, sir.
Could Russia finish Ukraine in 1 week? Huh? Non-nuclear place. It has no nuclear weapon. And could Israel get their hostage back? Everyone thought that Israel can get the hostage back in 1 week time, the perception. Huh? Could Israel secure the hostage back without Hamas offering the hostage in such a small place? And what will you do? You will capture Lahore, you will capture Islamabad, and then you will set up your own government. Don't you have enough problem with your own governance of 140 crore people? Is this possible today?
No, sir.
You are driving a Mercedes. Don't get into police thana chakkar with a beggar.
Sir, there is a case to be made that after the Bangladesh war, for
Hmm.
4 years, our real GDP growth was only 1 to 3%, which
हाँ,
eventually led to the 1975 emergency.
तो है यार, मतलब अब तुम सोचो ना, just think about what is happening to the peak season, peak vacation season, and Indigo is not flying. You are not going to now who will go to Jaisalmer now? Tell me, to see the sand dunes? ठीक है, this time एक बात तो this time it was real, मतलब if those logical people. And about fake news, if you watch social media during election campaign, how much fake news is peddled? Every news is fake, related with danga, fasad. And I mean, it is not like we cannot be like Israel, who can kill any number of people. Just think about, you cannot kill. I mean, how will you kill Pakistani civilians? Will you kill Pakistani civilians? ठीक है, I mean, it is very bad that there. वैसे तो नक्सली लोग भी मारते हैं यार. Don't Naxals kill? So anyway, there's a lot of things. It's better to pull out when you can pull out. वो 2-4 रुपए खर्च करके आ जाओ वापस, बेहतर है. अपना काम करो यार. We have to reach from 4 to 5 trillion. We don't have to move from 4 to 3 trillion. The only worry is the government should not back down from this. It is not a ceasefire. See, they killed your 26 people. They try to humiliate you. Just call somebody who is in Lahore, who is in Rawalpindi, who is in Islamabad, and you will get to know the reality. Or if you have somebody in army, they will let you know personally, not on telephone, how much damage they have done. How many civilians also have been killed in our firing on the LOC. So war is, in today's world, war has the tendency to get prolonged, and we Indians at this point of time, when we are taking off, this is good enough. Next 3-4 days, 2-3 दिन और चलता तो damage could have been more. But who knows, if you had shot one civilian aircraft of Pakistan, things would have become so different. You keep communication तो we Indians, हम लोग का Indians लोग ही सब. Actually, it is not, communication is not pathetic. Communication, we are communicating too much. मतलब we Indians have this tendency to communicate too much. See, I have to teach and I am communicating. Everybody is talking. Everybody has some idea. So उसमें 90% मतलब if everybody will be communicating every time, so there is bound to be the quality of communication getting impacted. Okay. चलो अब हो गया. अब I'm not talking. So always use your brains. Okay. This was needed. What we have done in 3 days, was needed, but I'm glad that we have, taken a brave step. It is a very brave step. Government, Modi ji might lose election in Bihar. BJP might lose election in Bihar. And they might be pummeled from all sides by opposition leaders, and the general public opinion would be against them. But sometimes great leadership is when you are against the public opinion.
Sorry,
So-
sir, but I am from Bihar. In BJP never come in power without any support. So we do not think that the BJP should win or lose. It matters much. Bihar needs at least two parties to form government from I think 1992. Yeah,
I know, Shujit, but what I'm saying is whatever they have, they might lose. They might have thought of using this to their advantage in Bihar, because I know politicians. The politicians have only one religion.
सर अनाउंस तो दिल्ली गए थे
Politicians have one religion and one caste. Let me tell you.
सर
Hmm.
अनाउंस तो बिहार से ही करा था
Hmm.
कि कुछ ना कुछ करेंगे जब वहां गए थे इस अटैक के बाद
Hmm. So I'm telling you, most of the politicians have one religion and one caste. Do you know what is the religion?
Winning elections.
Power. Yes. And the caste?
Money.
Money. Yes. Nothing else. So winning election is primary for them, and making money is the caste. They have no other religion, and they have no, I'm speaking on record here. People will kill me for this. Anyway, let us. So don't, I think this is a very brave decision. This is a decision which is unpopular. Even somebody like me felt slightly disappointed before and I was hoping that Monday stock market, Monday I've invested, Friday को मैंने खरीदा है. Dr. ये क्या कहते हैं, Varun Beverages and Canara Bank. Yes, Anubhav, you are correct. Rahul Gandhi is the best ally. चलो ठीक है, let us continue now. I have to 3 बज गया यार, 4 बजे I have to go to सब आप लोग मुझे carried away कर देते हैं. But I think we should have a kind of discussion like this once in a while on certain issues. So let us look at, I'm continuing with role of banking and economy, and some issues that I'm going to discuss or start discussing today is there are something called policy rates. You have heard of some rates. RBI determines rates. Most common is bank rate or what you call repo rate. How many of you have heard of repo rate? You've heard of repo rate?
Yes, sir.
Interest rate, lending rate? Huh?
yes, sir, it has been decreased 2 months back.
Okay. So I'll just go through some rates and their definition. One second. Yes, Raman. Yeah, what is Financial Express saying? Risk of war and ceasefire. मतलब any headline? हाँ नहीं, but तुम लोगों का क्या internal communication? अच्छा, हाँ, okay. पाकिस्तान Chalo. ठीक है, let us continue this. There's some rates that I'll be talking about. All of you have heard of repo rate, right? Repo rate. Have you heard of repo rate? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Anybody
Yes, sir.
who's not heard of repo rate? So let us understand the banking system. We have mother of all banks, which regulates our money supply, which regulates our banking system, which regulates our monetary policy. Any policy that RBI deals with is called monetary policy. Any policy measure that government takes is called fiscal policy. So whenever we talk about, when you read in the newspaper, some monetary stimulus is needed, yeah, some monetary policy intervention is needed, it means it is being asked that RBI needs to intervene. Okay, some fiscal stimulus is needed, then it means that some government measures needs to be taken. Okay, so when we talk about fiscal stimulus, we are talking about government. When we talk about monetary monetary policy intervention, then we are talking about RBI. Okay, I'll talk about few terms today. Let us see if we can complete it today. Otherwise, we'll continue it. So let us look at some rates. What are some rates? One of the most common rate that you have heard is repo rate. Repo rate is a short form for repurchase rate, actually. Okay, so repurchase se repo bana hai, repo rate. Now, repo rate, you should understand that it is the overnight lending rate, which RBI charges from any commercial bank if you want to borrow money from RBI. You must be aware of the fact that the commercial banks, all the commercial banks, they take money from the public and they distribute it among the public. So they borrow from public and they lend it to public. They borrow from me and they lend it to someone who needs it more than me. Because if I need it more, then I'll not deposit it. But if I have surplus, I want to make some money out of it, then I lend it to the bank. The bank takes it, and since it is money, money has time value. So bank will be using my money as a vehicle, as a taxi, and it will lend the taxi to somebody else at a higher price and get more money from there plus the asset. And when time comes, it will return my money as well as some rent on it. It is something like I take up, I enter into a lease agreement with you for one flat of yours. Let us say at 20,000 rupees per month interest, you take it from me. And then I use it as a guest house, or I use it as a, yeah. And then I earn money from it as 30,000 rupees per month. And then after 1 year, I return your house as well as 20,000 rupees per month money. This is what bank does. This is what any lender and any depositor system does. So banks are commercial banks, which we call all these banks which you see on the street is a commercial bank. Okay, they are all banks regulated by RBI. So there is no difference between government bank or private bank, or this is just the ownership of banks is different, but all the banks are under strict regulation of RBI. And all these commercial banks, they take money from you on rent and they lend it to people who can who can use that better and who need it more, and can use it more and return it on time. So all these things are seen, and they charge higher rate of interest. Now you should have this common sense. This is not rocket science, that if you borrow money from me and you say that if you give me 100 rupees, I will return you 110 rupees after a year, let us say. And you take that 100 rupees and give it to someone else. And you give it to someone else. Will you ask for returning 110 rupees, less than 110 rupees, or more than 110 rupees? Did you get this point? If you borrow 100 rupees from me and promise to pay 110 rupees after a year, 100 rupees that money you borrowed and 10 rupees additional interest or rent on that money. So will you now, and you take that 100 rupees and you lend it to somebody else. Okay. So I deposit my money to you at a rate of 10%. You lend it to somebody else. So will that lending rate be greater than deposit rate or not? So lending rate must be, is this clear to all? I want answer from all of you, all those who are present here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So repo rate is what we call the lending rate of RBI to banks. So in case the commercial banks, sometimes they require fund which is not available to them. Now you would ask, sir, why commercial banks will be requiring funds from RBI? So actually, you must understand, ये बहुत important lesson है, today's very important lesson of today, which will help you understand the, today, if you understand today's class, you'll never be trapped into, you'll never get fooled by financial, say, thugs. Listen to me very carefully. Now, you might say that why would commercial banks, why would State Bank of India, I'll talk about it, Balaji, why interest rate is varying bank to bank. You just keep this question. I'm just noting this question. I'll just note this question so that why interest rates varies from bank to bank. Not only bank to bank, not only bank to bank, from customers to customer. Okay, from customer to customer, right? Not only customer to customer, from tenure to tenure, right? Not only tenure to tenure, not only tenure to tenure, bank to bank, customer to customer, tenure to tenure, say
Security.
purpose to purpose.
Collateral also varies as per the nature of the loan.
पर्पस टू पर्पस ऑल्सो, आप किस पर्पस के लिए लोन ले रहे हो उस पे भी, ओके, उस पे भी डिपेंड करेगा. I'll explain this. So before we talk about why commercial banks need more money from RBI, let me first tell you what happens to the money that you deposit. Somebody's video is on. Somebody's video is on. Who is this? Yeah, thank you. So what actually happens to the money that you put in bank? What happens to the money? How does the money circulate in your banking system? So let me tell you. Suppose you deposit 100 rupees in the bank. Okay. 100 rupees you deposit in bank. Now what happens to that 100 rupees? will, suppose you have an account in SBI, let us say. You deposit 100 rupees in bank. Can SBI take that 100 rupees and let us say you are just one customer. You are only one depositor in this world for SBI. Can SBI take all that 100 rupees and lend it to me if I want 100 rupees?
No, sir.
No. There are certain checks and balances in our banking system. I'll tell you what happens to your money. First of all, they collect the 100 rupees. Now, from that 100 rupees, they will deduct some amount which they will not use for lending to another individual like you. Okay. So what do? There are two very important instruments. Okay. One is SLR. SLR and CRR, cash reserve ratio and the statutory liquidity ratio. These are two, remember this, these are two policy rates. These are two instruments that are designed to keep your money safe. What is cash reserve ratio? Anybody having an idea? Have you heard? How many of you have heard of CRR? All of you. I'm talking to all the people present here. Yes
sir.
or no? You have heard of CRR? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Good. Those who have not heard, much better, because you will understand it better. Because those who have heard about it, they must have lot of shaky ideas. Okay. So cash reserve ratio. Actually, this is certain amount of your money that you are depositing. Certain percentage of that deposit has to be kept in cash form. Cash form, ekdam, rupiah, cash, liquid form in the vaults of RBI, let us say. Ekdam cash, आप 100 रुपए देते हो. All these terms were coined when we did not have digital economy. So out of that 100 rupees, certain amount will be kept in cash form. They cannot be used by banks. They must be kept as reserve for safety in the vaults of RBI. Okay. Initially, they used to get interest also on this, but now, if I'm correct, they don't get interest on it. Okay. And I think every alternate Tuesday, they have to, if I'm sure, I might be slightly, this might have changed over time. I'm not very sure about the current situation, but till very recently, every alternate Tuesdays, they had to actually keep their, now they cannot do it every day. Like suppose for one customer, it is possible that they take 100 rupees and 3 rupees or 4 rupees as CRR, they keep it there. But suppose every day things are changing. Suppose you deposit 100 rupees, then you withdraw some rupees out of it, and somebody else comes with 200 rupees. So every day this deposit is, changing. So every day they cannot keep, at the end of the day, they cannot say that today CRR is this. So on a particular, let us say weekly basis or say alternate week, they have to ensure that by this Tuesday, whatever their deposit has been till yesterday, that should be maintained. The CRR of that should be maintained. Okay. That CRR has to be maintained. If you have to put more money in the vault, then you should arrange for cash. You should arrange for money and take it to the RBI. If you say if you have to arrange, if you have to reduce it, then you can ask the RBI to give some money to you, or you can offer that as a loan to somebody else who's needing it. Try to understand what I'm saying. ये बात, are you getting this point? Suppose SBI is asking for deposits. So the deposits value will keep changing every night. Am I right?
Yes,
So
sir.
today, if it is 100, tomorrow it can be 200, day after tomorrow it can be 120, 140. It will change, it will keep changing. At the end of the day, when you will check your report, you will find that today deposits stand at this point. Am I right? So will you be keeping your CRR every day? Will you be maintaining your CRR every day? Then it will become very cumbersome, because at 6 o'clock in the evening, you will realize that you have got so much deposit, and then you have to carry so much money to RBI. Will you do that? It is not possible. It is not justifiable. So what I think, probably on weekly or say after every 2 weeks, if somebody is in bank can tell me also that if I remember last time,
Yes, sir, every week.
every week, na?
Yeah.
On Tuesday every week you have to ensure that your CRR is maintained in RBI. So if you have, suppose your deposit has gone down, let us say, and you have maintained a particular level of cash in the RBI. So RBI can offer you that, see, for today's value of deposit, your CRR requirement is, let us say, 30 rupees. But you have got 40 rupees in my vault, because last week it was more, your deposit, you had more deposit. Today your deposit has gone down. So you need to keep only 30 rupees in my vault. So what will you do with this 10 rupees? So I can, as a bank, I can do two things. I can take that 10 rupees and again use it to lend money at a higher rate. I can use that for my benefit, productivity, right? If somebody is giving me interest on 10 rupees, if there is requirement of 10 rupees to my customer, then I can offer that as loan. I have some 10 rupees surplus for renting,
Yes, sir.
right? Or I can ask some bank who has got a higher deposit today, and they require to put 10 rupees in RBI. Now see, suppose I require to put 10 rupees to RBI today. So I can do two things. I can take 10 rupees from the deposit that you have given to me and put it in RBI. In that case, the total money available to me for renting to common public would reduce. ये समझ में आ रही बात?
Yes, sir.
मतलब मैं इस कप में से, इतने कॉफी में से इतना कॉफी निकाल के किसी को दे दूं और इतना ही का इस्तेमाल करूं, या I use this much and ask somebody who has surplus coffee to lend it to me at a rate which is reasonable to me, and I give it to RBI and I use this much to lend it at a higher rate than what I have borrowed from that bank. Is this operation clear to you?
Yes, sir.
सबको समझ में आया ये बात?
But just one question, sir, in this.
हाँ,
So why would a bank take the deposit from other bank when it has its own money?
हाँ,
Because the interest will be higher.
ना, दुकानदार में interest will not be higher.
Yes, sir. That is call money rate. That's very
Ah,
low.
it is
That's very low.
interbank operational rate.
Yes, sir. That is also low. But
Ah.
but still that will be higher than
No, but if I can see, when I will lend it to a buyer of automobile, I'll be lending it at 18% interest, 19% interest.
yeah, that will be
Whereas
profit.
if I borrow it from a bank, it is something like in olden days when you used to go to the shops. So sometimes you have 5 items to purchase and the shopkeeper has 4 items. It does not have 5th item, let us say. So what the shopkeeper would do is, it will send one of his kid to the other shop and procure it from there at the shop's rate and will sell it at you at the say retail rate.
Yes, sir. Relatable.
Is this clear? Matlab, let us say I have this much coffee, and if I use this much coffee for renting, I'll get a lot of money. But incidentally, I have to deposit this much to RBI. Now, what I say is that I can use this much at a much higher rate than if I borrow it from someone and give it to you. Okay. So that is what many commercial banks do. And the rate at which the banks borrow and lend, commercial banks, they are called interbank operational rate. Interbank operational rates.
So this is call money, notice money, right?
Yes, this is money. Actually, call money is any borrowing available at call, actually. But this is actual, matlab, call money is, this is what we call call money rate. Also called call money rate. Yeah, did you understand this concept that banks also borrow from each other? Because they don't want to, use their own deposit, which they can lend at a say higher rate, to be taken from that thing,
Yes, sir.
right? It is try to understand like this. Suppose um, uh, suppose I have taken 100 rupees. I have got 100 rupees with me, and I have to give and I am in the business of lending money. Let us say I am a money lender. So if I have 100 rupees, I'd like to have those complete 100 rupees with me, so that I can find a customer who can give me a lot of interest on that, right? But if somebody asks me to part with, say, 20 rupees, right? If my mother asks me that whatever money you have got from the market, you should keep 20 rupees with me for safety. I'll not give you any interest on that. So I now have only 80 rupees at my disposal. Okay. So I will try to find out that can somebody, I'll tell you what is the purpose of CRR. Can somebody give me 20 rupees at a much lower rate of interest? Is it possible? Because if I take away 20 rupees from my 100 rupees, I'll be left with only 80 rupees. Okay, to use in the market for lending. I want to earn use the full 100 rupees. If somebody can, if I have the, if there are people in the market who are ready to take 100 rupees from me and give me, say, 25 rupees in return as interest. And if I can borrow some money at 10% interest, then what should I do? I should use my 100 rupees to earn 25 rupees interest, and I can borrow those 20 rupees which I have to deposit with my mother at a 10 rupees interest and deposit it to my mother. That is the best way.
Yes, sir.
This is called interbank operation. And the rate at which interbank, this is the interest rate prevailing between the bankers, among the bankers. Matlab, one shopkeeper and another shopkeeper, the price. Now see the relevance of this. I'll explain it with a very simple example. Let us say one shopkeeper gives a chocolate, let us say chocolate brand Alpha. If a shopkeeper gives to another shopkeeper at 10 rupees, let us say, then what can be the minimum price of that chocolate in that market?
10 only, sir.
At minimum, it cannot go below 10. Arey nahi, dhyan se samjho.
Yes, sir, 10 only.
In that market, among anyone, can the price of chocolate go below 10 rupees? Can any shopkeeper offer that chocolate at below 10 rupees to any customer?
No, sir.
Because the shopkeepers are purchasing at 10 rupees. So it will be at least more than 10 rupees. Now, suppose the shopkeepers are on some particular day, that chocolate is exchanging among shopkeepers at 9 rupees, let us say. So what will be the general tendency of the price of that chocolate in the market compared with yesterday? It will be
Reduce.
low.
Hmm.
If I find that for tomorrow, if I find that the shopkeepers are talking about exchanging that chocolate among themselves at 11 rupees. So what would be the general price of that chocolate in the market day after tomorrow or tomorrow? It will be increasing. So this interest rate that bankers use among themselves is also an indicator of real practical interest rate available in the market. If the bankers, yes, banks borrow from each other, just like a shopkeeper borrows from each other, just like a household borrows from each other. Right? Banks borrow from each other. Banks not only borrow from each other, banks also borrow from RBI at times. When they have a lot of, customers, they have to lend a lot, they will borrow from RBI. This is the frequency is this frequency is RBI के साथ तो frequency, the frequency is now in today's economy, this is a very high frequency trading, because now most of the things are being digital, being done digital. Most of the, since earlier when you used to carry cash to the banks, then it used to take some time. But today, at the end of the day, let us say, let us say you are a banker. Suppose you are ICICI Bank, and at the end of the day, you see that there is 1 billion rupees lying in your vault, which you don't need in the night. Okay. So what will you do with that 1 billion rupees? It is lying idle in the bank's record in the night. So what should you do?
Some operation to earn money.
If one day, if somebody can borrow it for one day, if there is a position, there is a possibility that you can put that for one day somewhere.
Sir, will invest in overnight fund.
Yes, overnight borrowing and overnight lending. So there is a term called reverse repo rate, which is the deposit rate of RBI. RBI not only lends money to commercial banks, it also accepts deposit from commercial banks. It is very negligible, 3.35%. So it lends at 6%, repo rate is at 6%, it borrows at 3.35%. Now this is very less actually, but for 1 billion rupees, it becomes very high. 100 crore रुपए के लिए, 100 crore rupees के लिए 0.0001% will become very high. Right?
Yes, sir.
So RBI not only lends, it also accepts deposit from commercial banks, and it is called reverse repo rate. Generally, reverse repo rate is at a much lower value than repo rate. Obviously, lending rate has to be higher than the deposit rate. But sometimes there has been some exceptional times when reverse repo rate actually became higher than repo rate. I'll talk about it
to
sometime.
control the money supply,
While I'll discuss that.
to reduce the inflation.
So when you will read Economic Times, many a times you will read that call money rates indicate lower interest rates in future. It means that banks are, transacting among themselves where interest rate is going down. I don't know how many of you are understanding, but did you understand the concept of repo rate? Did you understand the concept of cash reserve ratio? And what was the purpose of this? Let me tell you. The purpose was safety. The primary purpose was safety. There was a time in India when government nationalized the banks, when the banks became nationalized and they all became part of government started operating banks. Then there was always a fear. Indians were always very apprehensive of their money getting lost. So the government said that don't worry, if you deposit in the banks, your money will be safe. To ensure the safety of the deposit, the government, enacted these mechanisms. CRR was one reason. I mean, cash will be kept out of 100 rupees. If I am correct, historically, the highest value of CRR, if I am correct, I'll have to check. If you can Google and check, I think it was in double digits. In 90s, in 1990s, the value of CRR used to be in double digits, if I am correct. If somebody can check in Google, the historical highest value of CRR.
It was 15%.
It was 15%, na? Thank you. So 15% of your money would be kept as cash in the vaults of RBI. So if everything gets lost, if the bank gets, robbed, burned, then 15 rupees is there in the vault of RBI. Then there is one more safety mechanism. SLR, a statutory liquidity ratio. Now tell me one thing. How many of you are rich enough to lend money to government of India? Do you have enough money to lend it to government of India?
Sir, but we can
We can
invest
purchase
in
bonds.
government bonds, na?
Hmm.
T-bills, etc.
So irrespective of which party you vote for, all of you are lending money to government of India. Right? Irrespective of kaise? How?
Through government
There is-
securities.
There is a term, and this is a very important requirement by commercial banks. There is something called SLR, a statutory liquidity ratio. Okay. Can somebody tell me what is the value of SLR today? SLR is 18%. Okay. CRR is currently 4.5%. Right? So SLR is 18%. But historically, in my memory, if I remember correctly, during my school days, or at least when I started understanding these things, I have come across SLR as 27% also. Can somebody check this? The historical value of SLR?
So there was a time when it was 38.52,
Okay.
1991.
38 point. So just think
38.5.
about it. 38.5% SLR. Okay. And 15% CRR. It means a commercial bank would take 100 rupees from you, and out of that, it is bound to lend it to government, 38 rupees 50 paisa to government at a very nominal interest rate. Okay. And then 15 rupees as cash in the vault. So how much money happened? 38 plus 15. 53 rupees 50 paisa gone. And from this, how, I mean, how we operated. Just see, ये पढ़े लिखे bankers, पढ़े लिखे, these so-called educated economists were running the economy of India. Many people make fun of this Modi government, saying that chai wala is running this economy, will run like this only. But this is what educated people were running. So 53 rupees 50 paisa is gone. Now banks were left with how much? 46 rupees 50 paisa. Okay. Banks were left with by 38 rupees 50 paisa to government, 15 rupees in the vaults. So I have taken 100 rupees from you. Now I am left with 46 rupees 50 paisa in my baksa. And I have to use this, to generate enough money so that I can give you a very high rate of interest on 100 rupees. Just think about how we were running our banks. Just look at this mechanism. Deposit rates were very high, something like enough to double your money in 5 years. Okay, so if you have to double your money in 5 years, what would be the deposit rate?
But then inflation was also around 15 or 12%.
अभी रुक जाओ, आते हैं
20%.
डिपॉजिट रेट्स कितना होगा अगर 5 years में डबल होना है तो?
17 to 20%.
अरे क्लियर होगा 72 और रूल ऑफ 72 क्या है? 6 साल में डबल होने के लिए यू नीड 12% पर एनम. ओके, 3 साल में डबल होने के लिए यू नीड 24% पर एनम. 5 years में डबल होने के लिए 72 डिवाइडेड बाई 5 करो. डिवाइड 72 by 5. How much? 14.4%. कितना? 72 divided by 5?
14.4%, sir.
14.4% per annum पे आप ले रहे हो. And so it means if you take a deposit, of 100 rupees, you promise that every year you will return, you will give the person 14.40 rupees as interest. So are you using 100 rupees to generate 14 rupees 40 paisa income, or you are using, it is something like, it is 14.4
46.5% of the total income.
on 46 rupees 50 paisa. Did you get this point?
Yes, sir.
समझ में आया कि banks were using only 46 rupees 50 paisa to generate enough money to give you 14 rupees 40 paisa. Was this possible? And in an economy that was growing at 2 to 3%. In an economy growing at 2 to 3% per annum.
But sir, there might be some reason for this, I would say.
I'll discuss this when I'll discuss the history of Indian economy. एक दो
sir,
करोड़ के बाद.
There would be some hyperinflation at that point of time.
Nah, there was low inflation, low growth.
Then why would we need to control the money?
But I read a paper, there was a hyperinflation around 14 to 17%. Then the interest rate was around 12 or something. Or we can also give a reason that it was government banks. There were no private banks, so it does not have any risk because government can pay from its treasury.
And not only that, very good. I'm glad that you people are talking. Good, interesting discussion. I'm just missing the classroom actually. I mean,
I also have.
क्लासरूम मिस करता हूँ कई बार मैं इन सब डिस्कशन में. क्लासरूम में जब Now, one more thing was there. That was the time when the biggest producers, who was the biggest businessman in 1960s or 70s?
Tata.
UTI.
Reliance?
Government of India.
Yes, sir. All were PSUs.
Everything was being produced by Government of India.
Sir, Navratna was before this or during this?
अरे नवरत्ना ये सब तो बहुत बाद में आया यार.
Okay.
At
Yes,
that time it was licensed.
The golden era of India, which was behind Pakistan in economy. यार. These were educated people running the economy from 1947. That is why I sometimes feel very, is this possible? You know what you are doing, but you had no option. Why you had no option? Why the rate of deposit has to be very high? Because if the rate of deposit will not be very high, who will deposit money in the bank? And who needed that money? Who needed people's money most? Who needed people's money? Who needed most money? Who needed the money most in India's economy at that time?
Government.
The biggest producer was government. The biggest consumer was government. So even to produce, you need money. Even to consume, you need money. And you did not have any profitable venture. So where will you get the money from? Are you making a profit of more than 20% per annum in all your activities that you are doing? In everything that you are producing?
Yes, sir.
If you are incurring a loss of 20% per annum every year, 20% loss on every investment that you are making while producing something, will you be able to sustain this cycle? So you needed all the money that people are earning. So the deposit rate has to be high so that people put money in the bank. The SLR has to be high so the banks give the money to the government. And in the worst case scenario, government may print money, more money. So the real value of your money is nothing. Nobody wants your money. Nobody wants your money because of simple reason that you are not producing something that people want. You are not an exporter. So government needed people's money. So the deposit rates were very high. Deposit rates were very high and SLR was very high. So that the banks were forced to put 35% of their money in government securities. And government created artificial shortage so that you cannot spend more. You ask your grandfather, how much time did it take for him to get one Bajaj scooter? There was a waiting period of 10 years, 12 years, 6 months. 6 months.
My father was telling me that he got his scooter in 6 months after registering.
People used to those were rich people. The rich people used to have bicycles. Very rich people used to have scooters. आप एक फिल्म देखना, watch a film. छोटी छोटी सी बात, छोटी छोटी सी बात, नो छोटी छोटी सी बात,
छोटी सी बात,
हाँ
आई थिंक 50 रुपए की रॉयल एनफील्ड बेच रहा होता है.
हाँ, और and that Asrani has a scooter. The scooter, having scooter as a, was like having today it's like having a kind of, you're going to school, you're going to college on
हाँ,
scooter, was like today going to college on something like Harley Davidson, right? People used to register for Bajaj scooter the day their daughter was born, so that they can get it by the time she gets married. This was the situation. You ask your grandparents, they will tell you. They will tell you. You could count. I was small at that time, and I was growing up in the streets of Patna. And the Bailey Road was there near our house, the main Bailey Road near Secretariat. And there was a Dhobi Ghat beyond that. And we used to sit on both sides of the Bailey Road. Do you imagine, we have played on Bailey Road, we have played football, we have played, we have run on Bailey Road backwards in Patna. If you, it is something like running on say Ring Road, Delhi, or running on MG Road, Bangalore, backwards, or counting the number of cars in MG Road. Can you count that? Can you do that? Anyway, I'll talk about this when I'll talk about the history of Indian economy. Not only that, I'll talk about one more thing. The entire textbooks, used to scream, saving is virtue.
Yes, the government were discouraging the investments in those times.
Saving was virtue. Okay. In fact, I'll talk about this in when I'll discuss the history of Indian economy. In fact, the Sadhu Babas, the Babas and the great sages, they would say, consumerism is bad. Materialism is bad. Why spend money on materialism? Huh? Why spend money on materialism? मतलब आपकी your soul is being indoctrinated to not being a consumerist, not run after material things.
They themselves were using imported cars.
But they were teaching all of us not to run after these material things, because if we start running after them, then we'll start asking government to produce more or get us more. Anyway, chalo, but I'll explain this thing in after two. First, let us understand the economy, then we will. So saving is virtue. In fact, they indoctrinated it so much that spending money was seen as a vice and saving a virtue. In fact, the language your parents and grandparents use today, can you use the synonyms of spending to spend? Can its synonym be to fly? Can its synonym be to burn? To waste? You just you just purchase 10,000 rupees worth of Skechers shoes for your grandfather and take it with lots of love. Dadaji, I have brought very good walking shoes for you. It is Skechers. They will ask you, what is the price? Are Dadaji, you wear it now, you'll feel good. See, they will wear it. Looks good. Looks good. What is the price? 10,000 rupees. 10,000 रुपए उड़ा दिए इस जूते के लिए. 10,000 रुपए में in 10,000 rupees in our times, they used to get cars. 10,000 रुपए उड़ा दिए, flew away. फूक दिए, बर्न कर दिए, होलिका दहन कर दी. Because they grew up. They grew up like that. They were indoctrinated. Right? So, cash reserve ratio and SLR. These two instruments were sufficient to keep the government running. SLR was one single instrument through which government borrowed money from people. Of course, it borrowed more directly also through NSC, bonds, so many things. But it was unsustainable. You can make up. No system in this world can give you a return like this. No one can claim to give you a return of more than the highest return in the economy through legal means. So whenever somebody offers you very high returns, be careful. Where will that return come from? अरे FPI, FFI सब कुछ था थोड़ी. I'll talk about that. FII, FDI सब कुछ नहीं, सब fraud. It was pathetic. Right?
Yes, sir.
अभी बहुत कुछ है बैंकिंग में थोड़ा. I'll talk about these things in I'll continue talking about this.
Thanks for the easier examples. Okay.
कौन सा example?
Easier examples, like you take the 100 rupee example that
I learned it, that way. So I'll discuss these things in my. Don't miss the next session. I'll discuss relationship between interest rate and growth, concept of money supply, inflation and unemployment, inflation and interest rate, cost push versus demand pull inflation, pump priming. Some concepts I'll discuss in my next Power of Knowledge class. I think I should change the note which goes along with Power of Knowledge class. I mean, it's a very general kind of thing which is written. I think it's a Power of Knowledge class ke saath. I think it's generally, I don't know what they write.
Can you tell why it's generally been told that after reducing the repo rate, the demand of the economy increases, which leads to the higher income for the people living in that country?
I'll discuss that. That is what I said. Relationship between repo rate and the growth. Relationship between. I mean, if I'll discuss everything. Don't worry. So don't miss next 2 sessions of Power of Knowledge class. I'll reveal everything about. I'm gradually taking you to that rasta. I'm showing you how the banks work, what are the, how it has evolved. I mean, these things. So gradually I'm taking you to a situation where you will start understanding these things very easily. Okay. I'll explain everything. I'll reveal everything to you, in fact. वो एकदम रिवील जैसे वो एक डॉक्टर को, एक सर्जन को, एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर, तो उस तरह से। हाँ बताओ ना,
So please
real world
take a session on the last sentence of VRC.
क्या क्या?
Finding last sentence of VRC as you did in paraexamples. I first time solved the paraexamples 1 out of 3 in just get 2.0.
चलो, thank you for this. It keeps me motivated. Chalo, at least you people are settled. I think all of you are enjoying it, and all of you are, learning it. And I'm very sure I'll gradually make you understand everything about this, because I understand it. So best thing is that I know it, so, and I can explain it, and I have learned it not as an economics student, but as someone who's been an engineer and started learning these things. तो और मुझे जब तक कोई चीज दिखता नहीं है तब तक I don't consider that I have understood it. ठीक है? So don't miss Sunday's class. नहीं, I'm claiming that I am a not very intelligent guy. Unless I start visualizing it, unless I see it in real, I don't claim that I have understood something. That is what I'm saying. Book reading I'll start. Actually, last week I was not present. So this week we'll have book reading. Don't worry. Book reading session this week within few days. Okay. Enjoy the Sunday.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. We'll meet again. Bye bye. Take care. Good night.
Have a nice day, sir.
Bye bye. Bye. Bye.